I'm sure at this point you've heard about the controversy surrounding Bad Bunny performing the Super Bowl. I'm sure you would agree, since you clicked on this video, that the whole situation is pretty stupid. I did want to address a side of the controversy that I don't see a lot of people addressing, and that's that I see a lot of people complaining, if nothing else, than just that they're not going to understand what he's saying because he speaks Spanish. And that he's gonna be singing in Spanish, rapping in Spanish, doing whatever he's gonna do in Spanish, and that's the worst thing we can ever have because I'm not gonna understand what he's singing, which is just so stupid and really highlights how vapid a lot of listeners are and that they're just listening to songs because they can understand the words, which really just highlights where we are as a culture right now with art, and that the kind of general consensus from your average music listener is, I understand this thing, therefore it's good, or I don't understand this thing, therefore it's bad. And that's really horrible way to, assess music and art, broadly speaking. Anyway, I want to highlight an area of this controversy that I haven't seen a lot of people talking about, just to kind of add to it, just kind of give my 2 cents on the situation and how stupid it really is. Because as an American and an enjoyer of Western music, how much do we expect other people in, other countries and other cultures to consume our music that is in English? Quite a bit. I mean, find a country that doesn't have a Taylor Swift fan. But the people who are in those foreign countries that are listening to English-speaking music, they're either listening to it because they like it and they don't understand it, which is something you could do, or they're taking the initiative to Google the lyrics or learn the language, which is also something you could do. That's kind of a thing we take for granted, and is something that we kind of just expect from other cultures, is that they'll just take what we give them as far as our music, but we're not willing to do the same. It seems a little bit hypocritical and one-sided. But while that is, I think, an important factor, I want to highlight a couple of very specific things, starting with what I think is kind of the biggest elephant in the room. And that's that most people who are against Bad Bunny speaking Spanish at the Super Bowl have probably said something at some point along the lines of, I don't like hip-hop, but Eminem is great. And that guy just makes up words all the time. He's not even speaking any language. He just makes up words, which I'm not saying that's a bad thing about him. That's a thing that I like about him. But I've never seen anyone complain about it. I bet those people could rap every word to Rap God. And when you get to the fast part on that song, he literally just says, "Ama sama luma dama," which to my knowledge means nothing. And an even bigger elephant, in my opinion, is that most of those people are probably also Kid Rock fans and will lose their lungs singing "Ba dibba dang a dang diggy diggy," which again means absolutely fucking nothing. And I guess you could make the argument that, well, those were only a couple words in the whole song. You still get the gist of the whole song. It's like, yeah, but they're still made up words and you can't technically understand them, but Spanish is a full language that you could learn and understand, but you're just not going to. So, I mean, would they be mad if Eminem or Kid Rock were going to be in the Super Bowl? Eminem was in a Super Bowl, actually, and I didn't see any complaints, although I don't remember what he did. Actually, weren't J-Lo and Shakira in the Super Bowl like 6 or 7 years ago? I don't personally remember any complaining then. I don't remember the show exactly, but I bet they spoke Spanish at some point. Anyway, going back even further than Kid Rock and Eminem, what would they be mad if the Beatles were going to play? Because the Beatles have some nonsense songs. I mean, I Am the Walrus, technically, yeah, that's in English, but like make some sense out of it because they just mashed a bunch of words together to make it sound like nonsense. That was the whole point. Not to mention they say goo goo gajoob in there. That's nonsense. That's not even a word. But it's probably fine if John Lennon does it. But also, I mean, how many songs from the 60s and from the 50s use just made up words? There was so much cheesy music that came out in those decades that just made up words because it was a cute thing. It was a funny thing. It was like the in thing to do. So, I mean, are we just going to be mad at every artist that's ever made up a word because I can't understand it? Going back even further again to the 20s and 30s, there was a group called the Boswell Sisters. And they used to do these actually kind of rap-esque deliveries where they just spoke gibberish, and it later became known as Boswellese, but they weren't saying anything. They just had little sections where they just would like say a bunch of random nonsense, and that was the song. Not to mention scatting. Are we just going to take out scat from the entire history of American music? I mean, that doesn't make any sense. That's not a language either. But I want to hear Ella Fitzgerald. I want to hear Louis Armstrong scat because they're great at it. I don't care if they're making sense or saying real words or speaking a language I don't understand. It's ridiculous. The music is great. Just listen to it. And to really just kind of wrap this around and put it in perspective, would these people still be mad if they announced that an opera was going to be performed? Because I guarantee if an opera was going to be at the Super Bowl, it would not be in English. It would be in French or German or Italian or Russian or maybe even Spanish. Would they still be mad? Probably not, because it would be considered cultured and elite. But rap music can't be either of those things. Rap music can't be good, even though it's a sports game and you're just there to have fun and dance to whatever music is there. I mean, the whole thing's just so stupid. What are we doing?